Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchtime Series with me, Britz, leading the charge with insights, information, and ultimately effective results. Joining me today is leadership and coaching segment. Spent over 20 years as an actor and in that time became a playwright, screenwriter, producer, and author, among other roles in life taken on the pursuit of life. The latest and so far most important venture is to get this idea behind this book, All Your Best Selves, to teach emotional and mental literacy to the world. Please welcome James Rojas Taylor.
It's Rojas. The J is pronounced as an H. It's Spanish.
Rojas, fantastic. So, James, thank you for making some time to chat to us today. I remember when we first chatted, you are very passionate about this topic, and I love the enthusiasm about it. But before we jump right into it, just give us a bit of background about who you are and what this is about and what we're talking about today, because I think it was very fascinating.
Absolutely. Before I get into my background and all, I want to, start with what we're talking about. And I didn't even realize this at first. It wasn't until I started doing these podcasts about 2 months ago and started conversing with people about it, that I realized that what I'm actually holding on to is a systemic way to teach mental and emotional literacy. And to me, the significance of that is if you consider that the human brain is the most powerful supercomputer we know as a human species. What's the operating system for that computer? What's the iOS? What's the Windows? What's the Linux Red Hat? What I'm saying is that these masters created accidentally a rudimentary operating system for that supercomputer to allow people to better interface their mind and emotions. Now, for me as an individual, where I get started, it goes all the way back in the beginning for me. When I was 4 years old, my parents took me to midnight mass. I was in Jersey at the time, a little one. And for whatever reason, the priest's words uh, unlock the concept of eternity. I realized that if there's no end, there could be no middle. If there's no middle, it's just a perpetual beginning. So 10,000 eons from now, I will still exist. And what got me was, what do I do forever once I've done everything many times over? Boredom got me. It freaked me out as a little kid. So I regressed back into my mind. And what I instinctively started doing was treating my mind like a computer. And I started creating programs. My first two programs, well, two of the earliest ones, were my suits and bubbles. My suits were essentially me just actively listening to people and drawing everything I could from them mentally and emotionally and recreating them as me inside myself. My bubbles were like the holodeck in the Star Trek universe. It could be anytime, any place, anywhere. And what I didn't realize at the time, what I was essentially doing was creating a proving ground for myself. So anytime I need to go into any situation, I would take a version of myself, put it in a bubble, recreate that situation, and go through it in the imaginative before I went through it in reality. So it allowed me to make better choices growing up. And like I said, it became a lifestyle for me. I just started seeking. Two of my birth gifts were curiosity and creativity, so that kind of funneled me along. My first contact with theater would have been in high school. My freshman year, I got put into theater one, but didn't last long. I was there for about 6 weeks before I got kicked out and put into ROTC. And I kind of feel like the ROTC kind of helped me get into the military because I enlisted in the Marine Corps right after high school. I spent 6 years there. I enlisted out of Alabama because when I was 10 years old, my parents moved us from New Jersey to Alabama. So when I enlisted, I was in North Alabama at the time. And then I did 5 years in the Corps. I mean, it was a great experience, had a lot going on there. But after I got out, I returned to Alabama and I got a job working at a restaurant. And this is where the theater thing picked back up. As I was working there was a girl who was rolling silverware with another girl close to us. And they were talking about their voice lessons. And I was a young, dumb honorary Marine. So I was breaking balls. And I was like, come on, voice lessons? Seriously? I'll talk to you about hard. I'm a Marine. And then she just snapped up on me. She was like, I bet you couldn't do 3 weeks, soldier boy. And I was kind of taken back by her, strength. So I was like, forget it. I'll do 6 weeks. I'll show you. So I took it as a challenge. So I went, found a local voice coach in Huntsville, Alabama. And after the first session, I kind of forgot about the challenge because I was so fascinated by the way he made me sound, by the way he handled me. It was just this new world I was stepping into. So I just started getting into it. And he got me into a chorus, into a play. And in the first 2 years, from 2003 to 2005, I had about 30 credits here in North Alabama. And then I moved to New York. And then there, I started getting gigs again. I was booking stuff. And then it culminated in me writing, producing, performing my own play, Two Tablespoons of Crazy. But what was separated me was there was several people around me who realized how fast I did it. Because when I wrote the first line to when closing night of the play, like 5 months had passed. And they were like, how did you do that so fast? You have no idea what you're doing. But what they didn't realize is I had been building my mind since I was 4, my whole life. So I didn't need to know what I was doing. I knew how to get to the next step. And that's what I just did. What's the next step? What's the next step? And I kept taking these steps. And then that got me an audition for this film Hunger in 2008. And this is a poignant moment because what had happened, there was a scene where I was off camera. The actor Lyndon Ashby playing Grant was on camera. And when they yelled cut, the director, Lyndon, reached over and shook my hand like I pulled his kid out of a fire. And I couldn't understand it. It took me several weeks of trying to figure out the moment. It was after we wrapped the film that I figured it out. But what had happened was in situations like that, the actor on camera isn't getting the best from the actor off camera because the actor off camera is just yada, yada, yada their lines. In acting, you have to be giving to your scene partner. You have to do your best you can off camera with the lines so that they can give a better performance. And that's why he shook my hand. But the reason that was poignant was because I wasn't in character. I wasn't Alex in that moment. I was just me. But again, because of my lifestyle, I was present in the moment with him. I didn't need to be in character because I was giving to him as an individual because that's how I am. When I'm in a conversation with something, I'm giving to them because I want them to give back. And then that's what made me realize that these tools and techniques that I'd learned were teachable. My suits were essentially characters. My bubbles were a form of Stanislavski's magic if. These were a systemic way to teach people how to deal with their mind and emotions better. And as I progressed on, I started teaching it in the school systems. But I mean, I did well. I was teaching 15 hours a week across the entire school year and three different schools. And at the end of it, the teachers were impressed by what I did with the kids. The kids were loving it. The superintendent called me back up and he's like, "We want you to take on 2 more schools because you're doing such a good job, but we still can't pay you." So I was like, at that point, I'm like, "I give you a whole year for free to show you I can do this, but I can't do another year for free, you know?" So I got out of that, and that kind of, I wandered for a bit. That's when I wrote the book. The book kind of came out, but I still didn't realize I was dealing with mental and emotional literacy until I got to the podcasting thing here about 2 months ago. And that's what was the next step. I started doing that. And because the problem was, I didn't have anybody to talk to about this idea. My friends and family didn't really care about it. It wasn't something that interested them. But again, to me, it's like if you were illiterate, wouldn't you be interested in learning how to read? But they don't see it that way. So when I started podcasting and talking about it, that's when it popped off. And I even realized that not only is this mental and emotional literacy, but it's also teaching emotions as a sixth sense because emotions are like flavored energy. If you learn how to feel them, whenever you walk into an environment, you feel those emotions, you're tasting that environment. You understand the emotional connection that's going on in there. So if there's good vibes, bad vibes, you'll know that. So it's like, again, a sixth sense, like it's giving you information in this tangible way that before now was intangible because we didn't know how to teach it. So that's kind of where I'm at now, how I got to where I'm at to here.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fascinating. And you mentioned this mental and emotional literacy. Don't you want to give us more in-depth and insight about what that means? Because, like people listening will probably have an idea of what it means for them. But from your perspective, break that down for us.
Absolutely. And basically, it's tools and techniques. Because if you consider this, when you look at artists and what they work with, glass makers work with glass, metal workers work with metal, composers with music, painters with a brush and paint canvas. What do actors work with? What is our marble that we chisel? The human mind and emotions. What I'm saying is that these cats 100 years ago, well, before I get into that, if you look at acting over the course of the 2,500 years history from now, going back to the Greeks and Western acting, the first 2,100 years are what people consider acting to be. They're still back into that area. They think it's masking, representation, pretending. Oh, it's moved on. The 300 years that followed that period, like the Victorian era, Shakespeare, that's when we moved into naturalism. We started moving into naturalism and realism. But in the 1900s, with this guy, Konstantin Stanislavski, that's when it became philosophical. Acting isn't even the right term anymore. It's about becoming someone else. And that's what I'm talking about, mental and emotional literacy. This is about how you can become another human being mentally and emotionally using these tools they created. Because and the reason why I called the book All Your Best Selves is because if you look at a human being and we live in this mentality of like, I'm going to be my best self, I'm going to be my best self. Well, I'm making the argument there's no version of you, no matter how good you make it, that will be perfect or the best fit for every situation that comes along. So what I'm saying is when you take upon this and you start developing different versions of yourself and creating them, you're creating a wardrobe of selves that you can step in and out of. So when the situation comes up, you can pick the best version of you for the moment instead of expecting the moment to change for you. Now, one of the techniques is called the Stanislavski system. This is 7 questions. And I equate it to like sonar. When there's a submarine underwater, it can't see anything. So what does it do? It sends out a ping. That ping bounces off submarines, whales, the ground, surface vessels to give it information. These 7 questions, they're designed to break down the moment for your character to ground it in the moment so you can make better choices. What I'm saying, in life, we talk about our character all the time. We got to build our character. You can't lie. That's bad for your character. Well, I'm saying these 7 life questions will develop that character. Now, here they are. Number 1, who am I? This is the moment in relation to you. Number 2, where am I? This is the moment in relation to the environment. Number 3, when is it? This is the moment in relation to time. Number 4, what do I want? This is the moment in relation to purpose. Number 5, why do I want it? This is the moment in relation to desire. Number 6, how do I get it? This is the moment in relation to action. And number 7, what's in my way? This is the moment in relation to obstacles. Like I said, these are life questions that will help you move forward that people don't ask. I mean, it's shocking to me how many times I've asked people, well, what do you want? And they're like, well, I don't know. I never thought about it. Bro, why do you deserve it? If you haven't put that much effort into it, what do you think you should just have it? People should just give you your life? No, it doesn't work that way. Another point about emotional literacy, like, have you ever heard of the it factor? Like in entertainment, that person has the it. Can you describe it?
It is charisma. It's presence. It's walking into a room and someone shows up in a way that you don't anticipate, and it's intangible. And there's something about them that conveys a message without them saying much.
I appreciate that because that's the best answer I've gotten so far. Most people don't even get that far with it. Now, what I'm saying is I can pick out 5 learned skills that if you put together, you can exude the it factor. Now, I'm not saying these are absolute. I'm just saying these 5 skills work because it fluctuates. So if you want to have that presence, like if you're going into negotiations, a business meeting, doing a presentation, in entertainment, like even a podcast host, to turn on the it factor, crazy valuable. Turn it on and off. All right, number 1, active listening, the ability to truly engage in conversation with someone. That makes people feel interested and valued and thus like having you around. Number 2, charm, sometimes called charisma, like you said, or magnetism, the ability to draw people to you. Your core attraction may be your passion or your intelligence or something else, but the important thing is that you display it with an easy confidence, no arrogance. Instead, when people are with you, they feel like you elevate them. Number 3, intensity. It's the ability to exercise a force of presence. Whatever you bring it hard, but you don't need to dominate. When you speak, you just can't be ignored. Number 4, generosity. You're so self-confident, so present in the moment that you look for ways to give to others. And number 5, poise. Another term for something you use mysteriously, but it's simply the ability to use nonverbal communication, posture, expressions, gestures to do work for you. So that's what I'm saying is like once we give language to these things, once we break them down, they become teachable. It's not this mysterious analogous thing that we can't figure out. Now we can reach it and give it to our people. Because consider this. As actors, we learn emotional regulation to the point where we're taught to feel real emotions in imaginary circumstances. If we can emotionally regulate that well with these tools and techniques, why aren't we giving these same tools and techniques to elementary school kids so they can learn emotional regulations before they hit adolescence? I mean, this is a key factor that we just overlook. We send every generation of our people through this, but for the past 100 years, we've had a system to help them. We're just not using it because who looks to the theater kids for world changing knowledge? But that's what this is. Because consider when we gave the world when we gave the world written literacy in the form of reading and writing, changed the world. When we gave the world numerical literacy in the form of mathematics, changed the world. So I'm simply saying, why wouldn't it change the world if we gave them a twofer? If we gave them a systemic, teachable way to gain mental and emotional literacy? And again, once you gain emotional literacy, you're going to get emotions as a sixth sense or a new sense if you already have a sixth sense. But it's a new way for you to feel and gain information because it's like what empaths do all the time. They have that sense that lets them know, oh man, I feel the negative energy here. This is not a good place for me to be. I should dip out. or there's a positive energy, let me go in deeper. That's a sense, just like sight, touch, taste, any like that. It draws information to give you a better place to make your choices. So I'm saying this information is profound. It's just we don't realize it because this wasn't what we were looking for. We were looking to create art. But when the human being is the art we're creating, we open up a whole can of worms.
So one of the things that stand out to me, especially around becoming someone else and, putting on like a wardrobe and stepping into a whole new version of something else or someone else and using it in context to the situation and the circumstance. Part of, and it's not a trick question, I understand why it's there and, it's stuff that I teach people. So I'm completely in alignment with what you're saying. But for people listening now, what about the authentic factor? If people say, okay, I have this wardrobe, I have this ability to step into a role. And for this circumstance and for this moment, I'm capable of adjusting and I'm agile and able to tap into those nuances. But what about the authenticity? How do you connect the authenticity? Because part of really being true to that it factor for me lies in the authenticity factor. And where does that reconcile for you from your
Well,
perspective?
that's the point of these tools. Because what is authenticity? It's being the true version of you. Well, that's what these tools are. They're developing you. So it's not that it's kind of like, okay, when I was in the Marine Corps, I was a Marine. When I got out of the Marine Corps and became a waiter, was I not an authentic Marine anymore? Did I stop becoming a Marine? No, it's because this is the difference between sociopaths. Sociopaths are not authentic. That's psychopaths. They put on masks. They represent. What I'm saying is these tools and techniques develop you. They find the different versions of you. You are growing because people ask me that all the time. It's like, well, if you have all these versions, which one's you? Which one's you? I'm like, you don't understand. I'm the sum total of them all because I grow and develop them. I did the work to develop them. I didn't just say, well, I'm going to represent this and I'm going to pretend to be this. I'm putting this aside. No, I found this in me. I developed it. I cultivated it. And because of it, I grew. And that's why, like, no one has ever made me feel insecure. I don't believe there's anyone on the planet who could make me feel insecure because I've answered all the questions. Because if you look in acting, what we refer to as stage fright is just insecurity in the real world. Because it's as an actor, not knowing all your moments, not knowing your beats, not knowing your lines, not knowing. That's what insecurity is. I don't know what I'm doing up here. I don't know how to get in front of and talk to people. I don't understand these beats. I don't know where my blocking is. When you answer all those questions, when you take these tools and techniques to grow and develop yourself, you're growing your authenticity and you're becoming something that has literally never existed before on the grand scale because this is a new way to make human beings. If we start teaching this to our little ones, we will raise a whole new generation of the most mentally and emotionally capable people that we have ever seen. And it's going to blow us away.
Yeah, it reminds me of the research that I've once done around confidence in itself and how to cultivate confidence. And a psychologist by the name of Albert Bandura spoke about, and his research supported self-efficacy and self-talk. And when you combine those two, and they really are supporting each other, that's where you inevitably cultivate confidence. But at the moment when you don't have the self-talk and you are in doubt of your own efficacy, that's when you fail at your own confidence and it feels like insecurity, right? And it does. It becomes a human construct, a human kind of approach to understand that you actually have more ability than you think you do. And
Uh-huh.
that's, when we did speak about this the first time, it resonates with what you're saying because very often, I've been doing coaching and working with people for the last 15 years. And the one reason I've tapped into areas like confidence is based on exactly what you're saying is there are things that we can actually learn as humans about ourselves. And, even the wardrobe that you mentioned and also the it factor, those 5 skills you can actually learn. They are those that they do exist. And, when you do the work and you find out more, you start realizing that you're far more capable than what you think you are.
Yeah, it's just because I'm a firm believer that free will is a learned and developed skill. The more you grow as a person, the more you can do. It's just we don't teach that. Like here in America, most all of we're pretty much the same human being. All of our education systems across the country are designed to grow us into the same individual because It's easier to control people that way. If we start growing in this direction, then we become individuals, like a nation of individuals. And that's hard to control. But at the same token, it's going to give us a much more beautiful world. Because I remember the world used to be much more colorful when I was growing up, but now it's all shades of gray because it's cheaper. Because if you consider like think tanks, the 1%, politicians, billionaires, the people who are the ruling class, they spend billions upon billions of dollars every year to understand how the populace thinks, behaves, feels, so they can influence how we purchase, how we vote, so they can get us to do what we want because we're the same person. If we tap into mental and emotional literacy, it's just like if you can't read and someone hands you a contract, you don't know what you're getting. You can't read it. Well, once you start learning mental and emotional literacy, you negate all the billions of dollars of work they do because now you can read and you can see what they're doing. You can see it coming. So that's what I'm saying is like this is going to change us on so many levels because we're not at a place right now where we understand our true capabilities, like you were saying. Like, I'm a firm believer if one human being can do it, so can I. I just got to find my way there. And we
So,
don't live in that mindset.
another question that you have here, and which ties into what you're speaking about, is why do you think this is inaccessible to common people, like just common man, folk on the street kind of thing? Why does common person not know about this? How can we make it more accessible?
Well, like I said, I feel like the reason the common person, I don't think it's inaccessible because I mean, kids do it. It's very accessible. It's just not seen because again, nobody looks to the theater world for world changing knowledge. Because nobody's looking over there for these theater kids to help them be a more complete human being. But that's what this is about, to be a more complete human being. So if we get to the point where we understand that we should be teaching this alongside reading and math in the school system, that's the best place to start. But this can help anyone because especially among men in this country, I know we have this mentality of, well, I can't change. This is the way I am. I've been this way my whole life. There's nothing I can do. I'm like, no, these are the tools for change. If you take up these tools and techniques, you can change your life for the better. And one other last point, and this is where I get a lot of pushback from, is people say, well, why do I need acting tools for life? And I say it like this. Okay, let's say I have a toy Tonka trunk in my hand and I have a screwdriver in my other hand and I'm unscrewing a screw to take out a panel. And my buddy walks up to me and he's like, yo, I got this panel I need to get out of my Ford F-150. I don't know how to get it out. And I look and it's screwed in. And I'm like, well, here, take the screwdriver. And he'd be like, why do I want that screwdriver used for toys? It's about changing your mentality. These are just tools. It doesn't matter if we use them for acting. We can use them for real life too. So once we shift that mentality and understand that they're just tools, then we get the acting thing out of it. And now we can start applying them to our life.
So one of the questions I saw on your profile is, what are some of the ways that people can use these techniques in life? And I think, that's also quite fascinating because these are human skills that we can learn as, as humans in every single environment. But from your perspective, how have you seen people use these techniques in various situations?
Right before I answer that, I do want to add this because this kind of falls into it. This is part of what I refer to as my intangible toolbox. These are soft skills that are either learned directly or as a byproduct of doing what we actors refer to the work. And once I list these off, you'll see these are things that will help you in life. Number one, like I said, these are all learned skills: presence, situational awareness, initiative, grit, projection, wit, breeziness, motivation, emotional regulation, empathy, critical thinking, teamwork, public speaking, problem solving, creativity, listening, independence, mindfulness, preparation, organization, goal orientation, interpersonal skills, communication. List goes on. Like I said, all of those skills can help you in life. Now, getting back into what you said, there's multiple ways. Like number one, I've already stated, take these techniques, teach them to your kids young, let them emotionally regulate. So once they grow up, it makes it easier for a parent that they're not dealing with this teenager with emotional outbursts. Two, relationships. What are two common things that women complain about men? I know here in America, at least, men don't listen and they don't have empathy. These are two things we can learn because in acting, we teach multiple ways of listening, not just listening with your ears, listening to behavior, listening to, tone, stuff like that, subtext, intent. And that's one thing. People don't understand how important intent is. So many fights start because people won't take the time to understand the intent of the other person. They here to react, not here to understand. So it allows you that understanding. Oh, let me get this list back up. Empathy. That's another thing, because we don't have empathy in relationships as men. We don't, and again, it's the genderization of emotions. Men have the stronger emotions, women have the softer emotions, but I don't agree with that. To me, emotions are not masculine and feminine, they're human. We should be able to feel every emotion in our emotional body, but that regulation will allow you that. Again, public speaking, understanding how to stand in front of someone, how to speak. Now, this is more of a technical thing, but again, it's important if you're giving a presentation. Independence. Once you grow yourself and fill yourself out using all these techniques, you can stand on your own. You don't need someone standing by you because you know who you are in whatever moment you're in. Teamwork is another big one. You learn teamwork because you have to build something together. And you have this mentality of some, especially the whole alpha male mentality. To me, A-type personality is a mask for D-level behavior. And it's just, we're not giving enough. So once you learn teamwork, you get your head out of that alpha male space to where it's like, no, this is a community. We got to build together. Because that's how theater wouldn't work if you had alpha males, because it's generally no money, impossible tasks. You're rewriting on the last moment. It doesn't work that way. So that's where teamwork comes in. Critical thinking is important because, again, here in the States, we grow the same person. We put them through the school system to all think and act the same way. And then we get to corporate America, they'll be like, all right, we got to think outside the box. You've just trained them to think inside the box their entire life, and now you want them to think outside the box. And that's, again, these tools teach you how to, so it's not just a platitude. Oh, this is what you have to do. This is what we need. No, it's teaching you how. Again, situational awareness is important because that allows you not to be caught offside or blindsided. So you can see things coming, because it's in espionage, it's huge. So it's not something that's taken lightly. It's just not something we use. Most people don't have situational awareness, and that's why they're hit not seeing it. That's just a few things. Like I said, I can definitely go on if you'd like, but like there's so many ways because, again, everything we do, we use our mind and emotions. So why wouldn't it be beneficial to understand how that mind and emotions work? Because we don't get that. Nobody ever says, hey, little Johnny, this is how your mind works. Or, hey, little Susie, this is how your emotions work. We don't get those lessons. We pick them up along the way here and there when we trip over them or we get a lesson in life. But what if that's how we had to learn how to read? Nobody taught you. You had to find a coach or a tutor somewhere. And that's how it was. Life would be a lot more difficult for all of us. So once we start teaching this to people, change the world. I had no doubt.
So, I mean, the last question that I have here for you is around spiritual shape shifting, and I'm sure this is everything we've been speaking to, but and I'm sure that that's part of what you speak about in your book. But tell us, what do you mean by spiritual shape shifting?
This is getting into it. Code switching is a linguistic term. Code switching, it moved into culture. And essentially, it's like if you got a kid from an urban environment and he got a job like in a golf course in a fluent area, he's not going to have that urban mentality. He's going to change to be more affluent, to be in the space where he's working. That's what code switching is. Spiritual shape shifting to me is like hyper code switching. So essentially, because I have made these array of different versions of me, now I can step in and out of them. And as I step in and out of them, I am changing mentally and emotionally in the moment I am in, because I am a different version of me. So I'm changing the shape and the scope of my spirit. Because before I get into that, I will say this. The way I look at the human spirit, and this came from me as a little one, I'm not saying this is absolute, this is just where I came to. I see the human spirit when I was little, when I joined my mind and my emotional body together. When I connected the two, it fundamentally changed what I was as a being. And that's what I refer to as the spirit, the joining of the human mind and emotions. So now that I have all these different versions, when I step into and out of them, it's becoming different people. It's kind of like Scott Bakula in that old TV show Quantum Leap, where he started jumping into different people, except I'm not jumping into foreign people. I'm jumping into different versions of me that I've worked out. So now I'm just shape shifting. So wherever I need to be, I shape shift into the best version of me to fit that environment instead of forcing the environment to fit around me.
Yeah, absolutely, James. It's a fascinating question, conversation, at least, and I'm glad that you're breaking it down from a whole different context and from hearing it in a different way that I've ever heard it. But I mean, if we could take away from this conversation, what is it that you want to share with the audiences listening today, and why do you think it's important to share this?
Well, I think it's important because, again, this will allow you to become a more complete human being. I mean, if you look at it, that you are your art, you're the art that you're creating in this life. That's part of what life is for to me. You experience, you take in, you draw in this world, and you cultivate yourself. And at the end of your life, what you made is the some value of your life. It's not about materialistic things. It's about what you created you into. And we all have that opportunity. It's just we don't take the risk. And it is a risk because you're jumping into the unknown. It's just the unknown is because we all start out with those. It's like people who suffer from addictions. It's generally because they're trying to fill a void. Well, we all have those voids because we don't know how to fill them. Once we start filling them, we don't have need for addictions. We don't have need for that insecurity. We become more. And then we get to the end of our journey. We're not, you know, frustrated or scared to death. We can walk into it happily because we've lived a life worth living.
Absolutely, I love that. Fantastic, James. Thank you for the insights, and thank you for sharing that. I think it's a fascinating conversation, and I'm sure that all of this is going to be in the book that you share, All Your Best Selves. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, most of it is, like I said, a little bit's changed because I didn't realize that I was dealing with mental and emotional literacy till I started doing the podcast. So I don't really talk about it in that sense in the book, but I do talk about a lot of it in depth.
James, it's been a pleasure having you. And he's spent 20 years as an actor, and in time became a screenwriter, producer, and author, among other roles that he's taken in pursuit of life. And that's James Rojas Taylor. James, thank you for being here, and thank you for making some time to chat to me.
Absolutely, Kevin. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Cheers for now.